It's the time again. It's the time for the package from China time. And this time we're going to enter the Pandora's box jungle. So let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So this video we are going to take a close look at the new single player Pandora's box from our friends from China. Okay, so most Pandora's boxes you have seen maybe here on the channel are 2-player versions. It comes also with an HDMI cable, a screwdriver or this universal one. Then we're going to get some spare buttons and the ball top because we need to do a minor assembly. Then we're going to get ourselves the family version manual in 2 languages, including English, with specification about the mainboard that we're going to talk about later. And here we're going to get ourselves the Pandora's box. So if you just want to have like this tiny Pandora box arcade stick, that is one of the ways to go to nowadays. We also did a review about a Super Console arcade machine or Super Console X arcade machine, but this is more like the Nemesis. Let's get this ball top on and just see what we're going to get with the quality and what can we just do with this thing. And of course, not to forget, we're going to get ourselves the power supply, the 12 volt. But the weird thing is, like nowadays, I think it's like more than a year now, they're giving you these lithium ion battery chargers, 2.6 volts, kind of weird. They seem to be working just fine. I'm using it for quite a long time now, but still weird that they're going to give you one of these things with it. So the first thing I need to do is assemble the ball top. But the thing that I'm noticing, let us like to talk about the quality control. And here you can see that it's a little bit crooked. And I don't know what it is, but there is something that didn't go right when it comes to the manufacturer of this ball top. And you're going to screw it up. You can see like it wiggles around, so it's not exactly centered. A little bit of a bummer. And that's like the China quality sometimes that you see with these devices. It's not a big of a deal. You don't really like notice it when it's assembled, but you will see it when you're going to assemble it. Here we're going to you have like the wicked ball top. But let's talk about the joystick quality. So the joystick quality is your typical quality. This is not a Senwa part or a Senwa clone. It's like the wiggle stick we have seen before. Not the worst kind, but they're just okay. So if you want to play some fighting games, they will do just fine. Okay, so for the buttons, we're going to get the same, let's say, the quality that we have seen before. But first, let's remove these plastic things. You always need to remove the plastics, otherwise you're going to get sticky buttons. But what you're going to get is your typical, let's long travel, like okay quality buttons. They work just fine, but I'm not a big fan of it. Can we see like this one did stick a little bit over here, but yeah, you can see like it's sticking already. So not a big quality, and yeah, it's a cheap product when you're looking at the way how they made it. And I wish like in the future they would like give us like always Senwa parts, at least for the freaking buttons. And at the top we're going to get our typical buttons that you see with most of the Pandora's boxes. The start, coin, pause, select, and the LS. And this is more like if you want to use this thing like an arcade stick. So at the right side we're going to get a VGA connection, and later on when we're going to do a teardown I will show you what this is for. So what is quite positive that we're going to get this gigantic gap, and it means that we can use every single kind of Pandora box. So if you want to upgrade it in the future, it's going to be not a big of a deal. And of course we're going to get an on and off switch over there. And at the bottom here we're going to get ourselves the box, or the Pandora's box. Then we're going to get here the speaker, and here we're going to get an extra hole because here you need to stick in your screwdriver to tighten up the bolt of the joystick. Otherwise your ball top will getting loose after playing for some time. And it's quite annoying if you don't do that. But what are we going to get when it comes to the software itself? We're going to get ourselves the Pandora Games OS, and I've reviewed it in a couple of different form factors, but let's do a quick recap of the menu itself. The menu is similar to the Pandora's Box DX. What does this mean? We're going to get this gigantic list of a lot of games, and the game list itself, it's quite a mix, and I think like a mix like a lot of double, a lot of weird stuff going on. But when you're pressing the start button, then we're going to get the option here. You can see like we do have the option for category 3D games, even like 3 and 4 player, if you have like this configuration set up, of course. Fighting, action, shooting, sport, and puzzle. We have the EO tester, basically if you want to see if you have any issues, or you do have an issue and just want to check it out if this isn't a problem whatsoever. The first thing I'm noticing, they completely messed up the button layout. Oh boy, that is something of a big of an issue. But yeah, everything seems to be working just fine. Besides that, they didn't change out a lot of things. And what I mean with that, it's quite simple. We do have like coin settings, stuff like that, if you want to put it inside of an arcade machine. Here we do have timing mode and stuff like that. Here you can see the configuration of the controllers. So basically you should play with 3 players, but you cannot play because the system has been configured to 2 joysticks and 2 controllers. So you do have some limitations over here. But if they fix this issue with difficulty lives, you can edit the game list. I know you like edit the game list. You can basically like remove games or remove them from the list. I really like it. So if you just like spend an evening like removing all of the double games, you can do it over here. First thing I need to change out is this, because it has like this open close situation with enhanced image quality. I almost said optimization, but that's not the optimization, it's quality. Yeah, so this means like you're going to get this weird HD filter. Let's turn it off. But sadly, this Pandora Games OS, don't know why they are basically selling it. I think it's more like a cost-effective thing. But the thing is, like, the games will not run perfectly compared with other models like the CX, or better said, like the DX and Pandora Games 3D. It's like a keyboard they're using, and you will notice it. For example, we don't have Mortal Kombat 1. And that's a great reason, because this thing is low-powered, and Mortal Kombat 1 for the arcade doesn't even run at all. Holy crap, like the internal speaker of this thing is quite loud. Oh, when you're turning up, it's going like completely ape shit. Already mentioned, they messed up the buttons, so this is going to be not a great experience if you want to play some PS1 games. Oh boy.
Round one.
But if you're going to put it on 70% volume, you can even like feel some vibration of the speaker itself, so that's how loud it is. So far I can see the PlayStation 1 game, yeah, the PlayStation 1 game seems to be running just fine. Oh, button layout. But you know what's funny? So I have this main game called Blood Bros, and I cannot find it. So it's not like this search engine is messed up, it's more like they removed the game that actually had problems in the beginning. So it's kind of weird if you ask me. You also have the feature, so if you're going to boot up some certain games, it will boot up automatically in the check the selection screen. I think it was more Pandora's Box 6 that started with this. But so far so good when it comes to the overall performance of PlayStation 1, because that's the most demanding stuff that is basically on here. Okay. No weird glitches whatsoever. Another feature like the DX boxes have is the quick load, quick save. And guess what? They didn't add that to this. A little bit of a bummer, you know, like sometimes you find something that worked okay, but you find another downgrade like this. But so far you can hear the audio of this main game runs just fine. And guess what? When we're going to boot up a main game, it does have the quick load, quick save situation. And this is something the DX also had the problem with, that we do have this, like, that some games will have the support and some don't. Oh, and there is no save slot whatsoever, it's just like save, load, that's it. Okay, so also one thing changed out basically with this is that we do have now like some 8-bit and 16-bit stuff on it. And this is clearly the 8-bit version. But that is basically one of the things that they added to this system. When you're looking at the first generation, it does have like a lot of screen tearing to the maximum level.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, love the soundtrack. But what I like about this thing is the way how it feels. It's a very nice ergonomic stick, not too big, not too small, but also it's fully made of metal. What I mean by ergonomic, it has like this very nice angle to it, and it makes it more comfortable to play. Let's do a quick weight and see how heavy it is. So in total we're going to get around 1.7 kilograms when it comes to the weight. Another thing I really like about these Pandora's boxes, they are super easy to tear down. So if you just want to upgrade your main board, upgrade your buttons, the only thing you need to do is remove the 4 screws, 2 at the front and 2 at the back. And the construction wise is very nice. The only thing you need to take consideration is like when you're going to do a quick teardown, be careful when you lift it up. And the reason why, sometimes you will use these freaking ribbon cables nowadays. Back in the days, they're just using a normal, let's say, Pandora's box main board combination with a normal cable harness, but they're not doing that anymore with the newer generation. And here you can see this version, they're still, man, I'm so happy that I see this. They're still doing this. At the bottom we're going to get the main board, the speaker, but we're going to take a closer look at that later. And then at the top we're going to get ourselves the Sunwa clone lookalike joystick. And basically you can just replace this thing with a real deal. The same goes for the buttons. You can just push it out, just remove the cables before you do that, of course, and you can just replace the buttons. And here we're going to get the PCB that connects the extra buttons at the top that we're going to need for navigating through the menu. And over here we're going to get ourselves the cable nightmare. No, just kidding. It's just a basic cable 3. But what they did is quite interesting. This thing is just universal. But here you can see like it goes to the VGA connection at the side. So basically the idea behind it, you can buy like say an extra, let's say a joystick. You plug it in through the VGA cable. It's kind of weird, but this is just basically how they operate. Here we're going to get ourselves the speaker. The speaker itself is quite loud, already mentioned. It's not your typical one. This thing is quite big. It got a very nice punch to it. So let's remove the speaker itself. Let's see if we're careful, because otherwise I'm going to destroy the freaking socket. Alright. And let's remove also the power cable, because we're going to remove the mainboard itself and see what it is. So, the main board, what are we going to get? It's basically the same stuff that we have seen before. Here we're going to get ourselves the quad-core Cortex A7 1.2 GHz with a Mali 400 MP2 that runs on 600 MHz. Then we're going to get 2 GB of RAM and a micro SD card of 16 GB for storage capacity. And that's it. And of course we talked about it, the connection itself. So that's basically what we're going to get, is old stuff, old specifications, and that's also the reason why they basically like removed or left a lot of stuff out. For example, when it comes to Mortal Kombat 1, because that system, or better said, that game runs on most systems nowadays. But when you're looking at the cheap boards like these, they run horrible. So they was thinking, do you know what, we're just going to remove it, and maybe Mr. Wicked doesn't even talk about it anymore. But no. But then again, like when you're looking at the MAME and the EBIT stuff, it's quite interesting board, but it still has like a tons of problems. So here we're going to get like the new form factors. And the reason why I'm saying new form factor, we're having like a normal Pandora's box. Here you can already see it on the picture. Is absolutely bigger, and mostly it fills up the part of the PCB case over here. I'm happy to see that they did add an active fan to it. Normally they are like quite like cheapo and they add like a passive cooling, but that is not enough. And this is just a great way to cool your system. There is nothing much to see over here. Then we're going to get, of course, the IDA connection, the cable 3. Then we're going to get ourselves the SD card. They're always using hot glue to keep it in place. Very smart. Otherwise it's possible maybe by transport it clicks out, but it will contain a part of the software. Yeah, there's nothing much to see, to be honest. We're going to get this tiny fan over here. The CPU, already talked about it. There is no way of using multiple monitors, but the positive thing about this thing is you can just replace it if you want to, and that's pretty damn cool. So you buy a case, you get maybe a crappy board that you can play around with, but if you want to upgrade in the future, you can do that fairly easy. So there you have it, the Pandora's Box Single Player Edition, the new 2021. And you can just see that they're making this thing like cheap to the cheap. Like the main board is like the lowest quality you can get. And also it does have like a lot of issues, screen tearing, stuff like that. They don't really care about it, seems to be. But this is like what they like aiming for, getting you a single player, cheap model that you can basically upgrade in the future. Let me know in the comments what you think of this. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing. Hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family. And I will see you in the next video.